I think everybody can get something out of this video. I don't think a lot of people will sit to the end of this video, but I want this to do something. But let every man wherein he is called, therein shall he abide with God. So wherever you were, so for example, right, I was in these black spaces before I was called or whatever, right? Now it's my duty. For example, I've taken this in my personal life. I was on a rugby team when I was called. Now I have the opportunity to spread the message to the rugby team to get them, because I know they believe in Jesus. It's just they don't believe in Jesus, right? So that's why I take this very seriously with the black community, because I want us to do better. And I've always wanted us to do better. So like I said, with that Corinthians verse, this video is more so aimed at the black community. I think a lot of people can get something out of this, whether you're a right-wing person that's a racist, not necessarily a strict racist like I hate all black people, but more so you're perpetuating all these stereotypes and hateful comments online, and you don't actually know Jesus and the fact that he says love everybody. All right, how you guys doing today? I'm about to hop into a little discussion with you, but first things first, make sure you like that video, hit a exit full screen, scroll a bit, like it, and then full screen it back up. You feel me? So a video like this has been in the works for me, at least in my thoughts. I haven't written anything down or anything. I kind of just been letting the spirit take precedence, you know what I'm saying? If it's up to him if he wants to remind me of this, to really see if it's a video I need to be making, because I really thought about this video for a long time and how it could tie into the scriptures, because I don't really like making videos that don't necessarily tie into the scriptures. All right, so I was on Twitter, right? And personally, I follow a lot of, let me preface this by saying the Bible says that there is no Jew or Gentile in Christ. There's not even man or woman, right? So there is no racial distinctions in us in Christ. You know, I don't know how far that goes with stuff, but I do also know that in Corinthians, it does say that we're supposed to stay where we are when we're saved so that the word could be used there. So for me on Twitter, I follow a lot of black spaces. So for example, stuff just so I can see what the black community is talking about and try to help some people out. Because especially for the American black community, we are so down bad. It's actually atrocious, and it's bad. You know, a lot of people like to say, you guys had so long after slavery to get out of, the ruts. And it's like, yes, when you take things, for example, like Black Wall Street that were so popular, and then, it gets burned down, it's very hard for us to even assume that we have the chance to get out of it. So I do think that we can get out of it as a collective, but I don't think enough people want to get out of that mindset because it's been pushed down for so long. So let me preface by saying that a lot of people say you can get out of that mindset. I 100% agree. I'm not in the victimhood mindset. That's not even what the Bible says that we should have. We should be thankful all the time, rejoicing all the time, and trying to let this light shine through us. Therefore, we shouldn't be stuck in these situations that we have. We're supposed to be giving our lives to Christ, and then the grace of God will take over everything else, right? So I don't think we should be in the situations that we're in. However, that is not the reality. We are in these situations we're in, and the most I could do is try to show us the way out. So anyway, I'm on Twitter. I'm in a lot of black spaces just so I can see what the black community is talking about, so I could, try to help move us forward as a community. I don't want to just sit back and watch us, keep repeating the same cycles as a lot of, famous people do. They finally make it out of the trenches and stuff. You see this a lot in rap and hip hop, basically the black people genre. And you see them get out of the trenches, all this, and they still rap about it. They still do that. They promote it to the same people, and they talk about, you can get out, I did it. You can get out, I did it. Yet they do nothing to help each other out. They flex on these same people. They don't love these people that, supported them, helped them get out. The same ops that they still had are still the same ops they still had. Same people in the gang are still the same people in the gang, in the trenches, whatever. They may bring a few of their friends out to hang around in their entourage at Beverly Hills, but all in all, them same people there in the trenches, they left them in the trenches, just telling them, you can do it if you work hard too. You can do it if you work hard too. It's not necessarily that easy, so that you can just say that, because if it was really that easy, put your friends on. Start writing their lyrics for them. You pump out songs that make nonsense, start writing there. So it's not that easy. They're just liars, first of all, right? So anyway, I'm in a bunch of black spaces. So I seen this tweet. So somebody tweeted out, right? A lot of people have been tweeting like some hoes with all the glazing of other races of men and downing your own people. I don't even blame you. I blame the people that raised you. You're weak, right? So we're told, the Bible tells us to have very strong parents that raise you up in the faith, all this stuff to mimic the relationship we're supposed to have with our Father that's in heaven, right? So it's kind of talking about that, right? A lot of people have been glazing other races of men, but keeping down other people, mostly talking about black men. And he's saying, I blame the people that raised you, not you. But other people are saying, blame them too. Send this tweet. So a tweet replying to that one is what came up on my timeline, saying, we have an entire generation of feminized black men. Example, if a white man dates a black woman, Quote, I see you, bruh. He a real one. Cookout invite sent. Same thing to a black man with a white woman. This ain't it, bro. You gonna leave our queens milk of magnesia, right? So then I start thinking in my head, I don't think I've ever seen white men dating black women and our first thoughts being, I see you, bro. He a real one. Cookout invite sent. No, it's just, you know, he got some swag to him. But at the same time, my first thought is, now this is gonna be bad because as a Christian, you know, we should be dating other Christians. It does, or not dating, but courting other Christians. It shouldn't matter our races. Like it said, there's no Jew or Gentile, man or even woman in Christ. So it's not some stuff that we should look at and place, you know, boundaries and set up walls and divisions between us. We shouldn't be looking for that at all. But in my head, as a, you know, my Christ view was, why are black women dating outside the race when we want black strong men to raise up other strong black men after being pushed down for so long historically, right? The white guy, I'm not focused on the white guy, I'm focused on the black woman that doesn't want the black guy. And then the black man with white woman, I'm thinking the same thing. But at least in this relationship, I would say black man white woman is better because the kid most likely will come out black one, and there's a strong black man that can lead a strong black man versus a black woman having to raise up a black man that might not be a thing, right? My dad always emphasized to me, I'm biracial. My dad is black, my mom is white. He always made sure I'm raising you as a black man because that's what people are going to see you as, because as you can see, you know. So yeah, so in my mind, black man white woman relationship is better in terms of, you know, rearing a child in that group, right? So I commented on there, never have heard of a black man celebrating a white man dating a black woman. More so, I didn't say this in the tweet, but I have heard, you know, it's mostly just the white people with some swag. You know, we commemorate them as the black community. You know, people like Travis Kelce before he got with Taylor Swift. Noah Boat from Low Live Serve, if you know him. People like Jack Harlow, right? That's the big ones. Jack Harlow, Travis Kelce before he got with Taylor Swift. Those are the big ones. People like that, right? So then I say, right, I've never heard a black man celebrating a white man dating a black woman. It's more so just the swag that that white man has that allows him to get a black woman. We're not like bossing him up because he likes black women or because he got with one. It's more so we bossed him up before, and that allows him, the black woman, I think, see him as a part of the black community, and then they get with him thinking, okay, you know, this is co-signed, essentially. That's how I think that happens. And then I say, if anything, we should look at why we're not being sufficient enough for our own women. So my mistake, y'all can tell I'm about to get cooked in this post. That's the whole reason I'm making this video. But I think that I have to defend myself, which I did in the comments as well. But, you know, I think there's a lot of merit to this, and a lot of black people, we have a lot of pride. I'm not going to lie. We have a lot. We're a very prideful thing. You know what I'm saying? People don't want to, you know, take easy roads out a lot of the time. They don't want to accept assistance. I'm speaking from personal experience and somewhat I can see, but very high prides based off what I see in the media and all this stuff. And, you know, if I can see it in the media and I'm not a fan of it, you have to think of everybody else can see this in the media. So you can't get mad when people are racist in the media when all this in the media is us, you know, and stereotypes, right? So people are saying they taking the specific part why we're not being sufficient enough for our own women into context. They're taking that part, right? They're saying you're part of the problem. You are not enough. It's not we. Prime example right here. People rolling their eyes, people laughing. You mean why they're not enough for us? And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, if you're a respectable man, you can make a woman submit, right? That's the place of a woman we know biblically is to submit to the husband. So if you were doing enough, it wouldn't be the women leaving us and going to these other men. And then I reply with, you always want to talk about black women who don't support black men, but switch it up when it comes to our own women. They try to support us and get left fatherless while we run around trying to make baby mamas. Men hold the power, and black men are as weak as ever today, seen by, you know, a lot of hood culture and all this stuff. And I'm not talking about, you know, the few that actually have some substance to them, but I'm talking about the majority, the black men you're going to see in media all across America, right? Because if the majority of us were doing something good, then that would be, you know, the media might still even represent the minority, but still it's pushing out what the majority of us are. And that's not 100% our faults, you know, historical context and, you know, structuralized racism, I will say, play into a part of that a lot of people don't want to see. We can have a separate discussion about that later if you want to have a separate discussion about that, trust and believe, right? But when it comes to stuff like this, it's on the men. Because the men hold the power. So if our men are running around doing this, the women are only going to logically have to follow suit and do something else, right? If they see that black men aren't doing it for them, they're going to have to find out elsewhere. they're going to have to go elsewhere. And that's just what it is. If you see this one land isn't producing what you need it to produce, what are you going to do? You're going to leave and you're going to go settle somewhere else. That's just how it is. If you can't get the resources here, you're going to have to find them elsewhere. So that's what we're looking at here. And that's what I was talking about. We're not being sufficient enough. We're not putting them in a place where they can submit and be happy. We're not putting them in a place where we're leading them properly. We're leading them into more of this and more of that and more problems. And we're just continuing cycles. There's a lot of this stuff, right? If you're born poor, cycle is that you're probably going to be poor. If you have drug addict parents, chances are you're going to have drug addict parents more. So it's just constantly cycles that we keep falling into. And I'm not saying it's all our fault, but I am saying it's a lot of our fault. Right? It's more of the fault of us than it is not on us. And obviously, then the part that's not on us, very minuscule part. I'm not saying it's a big part at all. I'm saying at the most, it's 10% not our fault. Because at the end of the day, we make our own choices, right? And then a little aside to this, because I was playing this game and this game said, watch people play the game on Twitch to get rewards in the thing. So, right, I'm thinking, okay, how long do I have to watch? So I open Twitch and I'm seeing people play the game, right? And I'm thinking, where are the black people? And this is, I don't know if it's an esports game because it's kind of pay to win, but it's Squad Busters, which is the Supercell game, right? And Supercell also has things like Clash Royale. So I really started thinking, are there any black Clash Royale content creators or even esports athletes, right? So let's look that up together. All right, so I looked it up. Finding nothing. The second result it gives up is somebody playing the game with black troops only, right? And then I also see a Reddit post. No, not a Reddit post. I'm sorry. Top 30 best Clash Royale YouTube channels, right? Because I thought about this earlier. I was like, oh, I actually know. I don't know if he ever played Clash Royale, but he did play Clash of Clans, and his name was Godson. And as you can see here, his last video uploaded was 5 months ago. And he's a Clash of Clans channel, not even a Clash Royale channel, right? I play Clash Royale, I don't play Clash Clans, so that's why I bring this up. So we'll actually get into a little bit of the structural racism talk also, because then I thought about who are popular black content creators, right? And I thought about me doing gaming and, trying to branch in, because I thought about when you talk about gaming YouTubers, you talk about the big ones, you talk about PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, at least in my generation, right? Maybe Sniper Wolf, maybe if you're lucky, you talk about Corey Kenshin, right? He's the biggest one, and even then he'd be taking breaks half the time, and I'm not dissing him for that, I'm just saying, right? Like, as you can see right now, his last upload was a year ago, right? And then he's also doing Spooky Scary Sunday, which is a reaction type thing. He's doing Try Not to Laugh TikToks reaction type thing, which I'm not knocking him for, but I'm just saying when you're talking about, gaming and all that, this is what we got. You know what I'm saying? You don't have no esports athletes. I'm really trying to think, who are our esports athletes, right? And this little article is saying that a lot of black people, it's a PC versus controller divide, where a lot of more esports is based on PC based, and PCs are more expensive. I have one, so I can definitely attest to that, is what I meant to say, right? But I started thinking about who, I saw this thing a little bit ago. It said, who are the most recent industry plants and what are they doing for their respective communities? And I don't, just in hip hop alone, right? The two most successful that we've seen that really don't have much talent. I'm not trying to discredit, maybe they have some talent, maybe they don't, right? Ice Spice and Sexy Red. What do they both promote? Money, sex, greed, idolatry, all that type of stuff, right? So nothing good for the black community, but this is our role models. This is who's blowing up. This is whatever. I've seen some on the radar freestyles of some Christian rappers and low views, right? This isn't what the media wants. And when you think about who owns these record companies, it's, a lot of people like to talk about it's Jewish people. What are Jewish people? They are white people. And when you're looking at the right, that's another thing. I don't really like right type politics. I'm leaning, because conservatives like to rely on religion, but at the same time, like I talked about in that one video, they don't have much to do with it. They like to be they're racist a lot of the time, to people coming into the countries and stuff and loving your neighbor. They're just against all that, but they love to lean on religion and say, well, religion says people shouldn't be trans and gay and all this stuff, but at the same time, it also says you should love your neighbor. Blessed are those who feed those, to help those that are thirsty, house those, clothe those. Yet you're actively against offering refuge to these people coming in from other countries. So which is it? Are you, saying don't do this because it says don't do that? Or are you doing this because it does say do that? Which one is? You can't just pick and choose. You got to be all in or all out, bro. Lukewarms are going to be spit out. And from the looks of it, y'all rocking with the right because they're trying to save you the tax benefits and you don't have to help as many people. But it's like, sir, The Bible's all about loving your neighbor. So which one are you trying to do here? You trying to be contrary to all men, or are you trying to love your neighbor? And I think about all these, these right accounts that I follow on Twitter, because that's more leaning towards the Christian side, but it's still not Christian. It's Christian, right? So they're posting things about being racist towards black people. And another thing that they always talk about is the per capita. I see people in there talking about per capita. If you run into a black person, you're more likely to experience a crime thing, right? But due to redlining, if you run into black people, it's kind of your fault. If you're not living in inner city communities and all that, where redlining has taken place, that's forced the black people in there to the most part, then you running into black people is kind of your own fault. You know where they're going to be, because structurally they've been put there. But you got to look at the historical thing. We've always, and Kai Cenat, the biggest streamer. Why is he the biggest streamer? Because he's a caricature. He's just, bro, I can't watch his content. His content is actually bad. I'm not going to say that there's not some funny moments, but do you know how much garbage you have to sift through? How much, bro, that's Riz, you got to sit through? How much, word on my mother, bro, you got to sit through? And as somebody from New York, I'm not from the city, right? But as somebody from New York who goes to a pretty big New York school where there's a lot of people from the city, right? I see that. And this is people's real lives, yes. But it's another thing is it's a lot of jokes, right? It's a lot of, you got that one guy who went famous on TikTok for the, we're doing a chop cheese, making a cheese, sure, don't forget the bev, never ever. And then you got people like Lil Mabu, who's also an industry plant, because guess what? He's a white person who's in college, whose dad is rich and all that, but guess what he's promoting to the black community? Murder, gun violence, gang banging, all this type of stuff, money, nothing good, sex, all this type of stuff. But guess what? His parents are rich. He's in college right now. He just graduated high school. He's living in the suburbs. And just what he's doing? He's encouraging more gang violence in the inner city communities of New York and probably elsewhere. So then when you look at the historical context of why these caricatures are going up, right? Sassy Red, Ice Spice, Kai Cenat, what are they promoting? They're promoting nothing good. Kai Cenat is literally doing streams with porn stars and all this type of stuff, promoting sex, greed, and idolatry to the thing, talking about money, all this phantom taxes, the money aspect of taxing people, being greedy and stealing as well. And Duke Dennis, with the Riz thing, and sexualizing women all the time and all this type of stuff, sexualizing him. In fact, the women are doing back. And you got to think of the historical context, right? Why are these things caricatures now? Because what it reminds me of when I watch a Kai Cenat stream and he's just playing into the New Yorker stereotype or the black guy stereotype, all that's going through my head is this. Bro, these jokes can't even write themselves. I let the first 5 seconds of the video play. I wanted to find something that would get my point across, right? I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to fake the content a little bit. I wanted to do some searching to pick the clip that showed him in the worst light so I could make my point. I'm not gonna lie to you. But when I open the video and this is the first thing I see, this isn't even a lie. You're gonna see the timer here. I'm on the big screen. I'm on a big screen, bro. You can see the timer here is at 0-0. Look what happens when I open this video, bro.
What's going on, my happy motherfucker Black History Month in the letter hood in the motherfucker man shit.
Oh, let's talk about his associates as well, right? There's NLE Choppa for one, right? NLE Choppa. So he says in the intro from his album From Dark to Light, this released 4 years ago, right? This project, I'll be explaining the truth. I would love the light. It shows me the way. I wouldn't do the darkness, right? I recorded this song. The light songs you hear I recorded a month before this. The dark songs I hear I recorded before I was on this journey that I'm on. Fill your thoughts with positivity. Chase everything you want, but everything you want you already have, right? So what are we chasing? The things we already have. What do you already have? God inside of you, right? One of his lyrics in the next song was I know that God's real, but not the way that they had told us, right? And that means something. I don't know what, but I was like, this is when NLE Choppa was going to be my favorite artist. I literally said, bro, he could be my favorite artist if he keeps on this, right? Because before that, he was rapping about all the drug dealing he's done, the shootings and all that, the game banging, the money, all that type of stuff. And then he switched to this. I'm thinking, okay, cool. And then it says that, it sells 6K. I knew the path I took wasn't going to be easy, but this just determines my faith. I dropped all this, right? And he says the dark songs that I recorded was before I was on this journey. The light songs are the stuff I can see, right? I can see now. Before this came out, I love the light. It shows me the way. Yet, keep in mind, this released 4 years ago. This is his most recent song, Catalina. You can see what's in the background. That's Cheeks. He released Slut Me Out 2-3 months ago. I don't even have to describe that to you. He's posting Bobby with her freaking cheeks out and all that. And this is right now what the black community is promoting. Kai Cenat, the biggest streamer, puts NLE Choppa on his platform, right? And then even we go back, best money moments. Who else is he promoting? Cardi B, Offset, Lil Yachty, Ray, this guy, Asian kid from who knows what country, China maybe, I don't know, but random Asian kid is now also acting like a black guy in terms of the stereotypes and the caricature. Right, you got this random kid. You got this random kid from some random country, right? Getting sturdy. First of all, getting sturdy to NBA Youngboy. That's not even New York drill or nothing, right? With a shiesty on. Shiesty is like, I'm not gonna say that's gang attire, but it's, you know, it's what people that commit crimes wear so they don't have to show their faces. NBA Youngboy literally said his music is murder music, right? And he's getting sturdy, more promotion of New York type dancing and New York type drill music, promoting that as well through that, right? So this is what is happening. We're getting these people promoting all these different things that aren't good for the community, yet the people that are good for the community. And Ali Choppa, like I said, his album sold 6K first week. That's not a lot. His album Cottonwood 2 sold 24K, right? And I can tell you that I listened to Cottonwood 2, not no positivity, but from dark to light, mad positivity. But the thing is, this isn't what sells. You want to know why? Because they don't push it as hard, like he said in his tweet. He dropped it on a Sunday, lost 2 days of streaming, dropped it on election week, no promotion, Instagram refused to give him his page back, blah, 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 blah. No push, basically, right? But it's also, they make popular what they want to get popular. That's why we have the term industry plant. Because the term industry plant means that the industry planted that person in there. It doesn't matter how hard we don't think they go. It doesn't matter how much we think they suck. They're still going to be popular because the industry is pushing them. And it's more so they're popular because of rage baiting. People will post this stuff and everybody in the comments will be like, they suck, they suck, they suck, which in turns pushes it more out there because they're seeing it as, oh, this thing is getting likes and engagement. Commenting on it, regardless of if you hate it or not, is engagement, which I tell you guys to like the video and drop comments, right? Because I want the gospel message to get pushed out there. Whenever I watch a Kai Cenat stream, this is exactly the vibe I'm getting. It's a black man putting on a caricature. Not, you know, these weren't even black men. These were white men putting on a caricature of a black man. But we're getting the same thing. It could be black men, you know, the black men they used to put in zoos and put on display, right? And they had black men do minstrel shows too. But what is it? It's also white men. So let's say Lil Mabu, he's putting on a black caricature, right? He's not facing any of the consequences of being black, right? Ray, he's Chinese, putting on the black minstrel, you know, he's doing this caricature type thing. He's not facing any of the consequences. And I will say that Dr. Umar popularized a lot of the coon terminology, calling the black people coons, saying you're pandering more to the white audiences in hopes that they will like you more and help you succeed more. And while that's true, calling it how it is. If it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck, and it looks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Now, obviously, the stereotypes have changed, and that's where the per capita comments come in as well, right? You want to talk about a per capita thing? Okay. So we're looking at, right, Wikipedia, where it's talking about, you know, so you can't say you hate Wikipedia before this, right? Because it's telling us that black Americans are arrested at 2.6 times the per capita rate of all other Americans. Keep in mind, this just says arrested at, and this ratio is higher for murder and robbery, right? We can even talk about homicide, accounted for 55.9% of all homicide offenders. Even when it was unknown, we're still 39%. Whites 29%, right? And they like to bring up, oh, but you're 13% of the population, so per capita, if you run into a black person, you're more likely to get robbed or get killed. If you run into a black person, we're 13% of the population. Out of 100 people you will see, we are 13 of those people. So statistically, I'm more likely to run into a white person. And off that logic, off those two statistics, right? 12.1%, right? 12.1% represented as a decimal. 12.1% as a decimal is this multiplied by, we can even take the higher number if you want, 55.9% of all murders times 55.9. So we'll even round up to 56 for you, right? We have a 6% chance of running into a black person and being murdered by that black person. We can round up to 7 for you. Right? White people, 71%. Clear this, 0.71 multiplied by, we can even take the lower number for the unknown statistic for the white people, right? We'll bring it even down, 29.1, right? We'll take this down to 29.1 times 0.29. You have a 20% chance of running into a white person and getting killed by them. So you can talk about per capita. Oh, if you meet more black people, you're going to be, you know, and like I said, doing the redlining, you most likely know where they're going to be. So if you run into them, it's kind of your fault because the redlining can put them into very concentrated areas. You might run into the one outside of that, but chances are that the fact that they got out of that spot, right? Chances are they're in the suburbs. They got a good paying job. They have a career, future, something. Chances are that they're going to murder you is also extremely on the floor. So one, if you run into a black person more, it's on your fault. You have a 20, we can round this up or we can round it down for you. Still a 20% chance to run into a white murderer out of 100 people. Out of 100 people that you meet, you have a 1 in 5th chance of running into a white murderer than you do a 6% chance of a black murderer. And this is on the lower end. I picked the higher end for black people and the lower end for white people, and you still have a higher chance for white people. So I hate when right accounts that are even Christian, for example, perpetuate this and say per capita they're more likely to murder you and they're racist. And there's no black or white. Let me preface this again. There's no black or white in Christ. There's not even man or woman, unless when it comes down to marriage and stuff like that. But really, he's just telling us there should be nothing that divides us. We are all equal, just like men and women are equal. That's the point. We are all equal. There's nothing that nothing. Therefore, racism is unbiblical. We're all one part of the human race. And this is talking about higher for murder, 6.3 times, higher for this, 3 times higher to run into a white murderer out of 100 people than you are to run into a black person. That's a murderer. And this is on the lower end of statistics. So this video is specifically for the black community because, like Corinthians says, let me pull up the verse too, just so y'all know. So the context, right? God has distributed to every man as the Lord hath called every one, so let him walk, and so ordain I in all churches. Any man called being circumcised, let him not become uncircumcised. Anyone called in uncircumcision, let him not become circumcised. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of God, right? Let every man abide in the same calling which he is called. Let every man remain in the condition in which he was when he was called. So as a black man in black spaces, now technically you can argue that I'm fitting this into my narrative. I'm just saying, what's the point of this? He says, are you being called a servant? Who cares? If you may be made free, use it. For him that is called in the Lord being a servant is the Lord's free man, and anyone that is called being free is now Christ's servant. You are bought at a price, not servants of men. We're bought at a price, don't be the servants of men. But let every man, wherein he is called, therein shall he abide with God. So wherever you were, so for example, right, I was in these black states before I was called or whatever, right? Now it's my duty. For example, I've taken this in my personal life. I was on a rugby team when I was called. Now I have the opportunity to spread the message to the rugby team to get them, because I know they believe in Jesus. It's just they don't believe in Jesus, right? So that's why I take this very seriously with the black community, because I want us to do better. And I've always wanted us to do better, but this is on a different level. It's at first I just wanted us to be better for our own sake, right? For the world's sake, you know, so we could stop being laughed at all the time, spat at all the time. So we could just build up our society and be, counted as the same level. But in God, we're all equal. So now I just want us to be on God's level, because who really cares about the world? We're already told we're going to be persecuted. And back in slavery times, all we could do was pray. And they love to talk about the per capita thing. I forgot to bring up this point. The police force was literally made to catch slaves. So y'all made the police force to catch slaves, and then y'all talking about they're still targeting black people today. It's like y'all was built on that foundation. Y'all kept us down for so long with that. So of course it's gonna perpetuate. You can say that this stuff is gonna perpetuate. It's still going to. We don't pull the strings. We don't do X. We don't do Y. We don't do Z. That's why we have all these officials. You think, why doesn't the popular vote win? Because corruption and all this stuff. You can vote all you want for your representative in the House to vote for the president, but guess what? If your state goes blue and you're really red, I don't even know what the freaking colors, right? If you all vote blue, your electoral college votes can all decide and change their mind. We want to go from blue to red, and then they could vote on behalf of red for you who all voted blue. It's very, very corrupt. That's why popular vote doesn't win, because they don't really want the power in your hands at all. They want you weak. They want you sad. They want you depressed. I brought this video up in a video that I didn't have the audio on for, so I had to scrap it, but I'm going to play the clip.
They don't want you to win. They want you broke. They want you miserable. They want you unhappy. So make sure you be happy and you keep going and you keep winning.
All right, the ending doesn't matter, right? But they want you sad. So what do he say? Stay happy. What does God tell us to do? Rejoice always, give thanks always. Keep winning. Don't stress. Look to God as your solution. Any win you have with God is a win in general, right? So like I said, with that Corinthians verse, this video is more so aimed at the black community. I think a lot of people can get something out of this, whether you're a right-wing person that's a racist or something, not necessarily a strict racist like I hate all black people, but more so you're perpetuating all these stereotypes and hateful comments online, and you don't actually know Jesus and the fact that he says love everybody, right? Because we talked about that a few videos ago. I can't just sit back here and say nothing, right? I got to use what little of a platform I have to do something. So hope you guys can still get something out of this. All right, that's gonna be the end of the video. Hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.